I've been told there's this secret place in Dallas where you can go see an old 1920s roaring Harley Davidson that's done up like a Van Gogh, or like a 1960s Ducati that's been done up like a Picasso. And that is worth getting out on a motorcycle in the coldest day in Dallas.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Naeem, and today we are going to see some really exciting bikes. I've been wanting to go see this place for quite a while now, and yesterday we had a snowstorm. Today it snowed a little bit in the morning, but it's actually cleared up a little bit. There's still a little bit of ice and flurries, but I think the risk is worth it. We are actually going to the Haas Motorcycle Museum, and this place has over 100 classic, retro, futuristic motorcycles collected by this very famous local celebrity. He was a very successful businessman turned photographer for National Geographic and fell in love with motorcycles at the age of 64. Before that, he had no clue about motorcycles, which just proves to you that this is a sport that anybody can get into at any age. So this should be exciting. We should see a lot of classic bikes, big names, and custom pieces of art. Basically what these amazing designers and artists have done with these motorcycles over the last 100 years or so. So I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to this, and I want to share this with you guys. I left a little bit later today to let the snow melt. You can see the ground is still quite wet, but the ice for the most part is melted. As a new biker, I probably would not have gone out today, but as a seasoned biker, you know, I'm pretty comfortable. You got to go at the pace that you're comfortable with, you know? So definitely as a new biker, I wouldn't recommend being out when there's still even a tiny bit of snow on the ground. But I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I feel pretty confident, pretty good about it. And as you can see, most of the roads are pretty dry now. So this is the Haas Moto Museum, named after the founder, Bobby Haas, who unfortunately passed away about a year ago, 2 years ago, I think. And the museum has over 200 motorcycles. And the way they've put this together is it's in chronological order. So it starts with the oldest motorcycles first, and then it goes to the sports cycles and more modern motorcycles. So we're going to go through here and look at some interesting bikes. So some of these earliest bikes, they're like at the beginning of the last century, and they're with brands that we've never heard of. You know, they were big back then. Brands like Moto Sacoche and Centaur and these other funny sounding brands. They're basically like a bicycle with a tiny little motor on it, and that's where the whole dream started. Here's some of the earliest motorcycles in here. There's one here that's from Peugeot from 1899. I think it's the oldest one. And again, it's basically like a bicycle with some motor on it. This one here has got a wicker seat in front of it, so you and your significant other could go on a nice little picnic. And of course, you know, you put your spouse in the front, so if there's any accidents, she can cushion you. A lot of these earlier bikes, they were experimenting quite a bit, and they were trying to figure out where to put the motor underneath, next to it. So you see a lot of variety in that original design. And some of the gas lights that they had, they would put chemicals in there basically because they didn't have electricity, right? So they put in calcium and water at the top to get light if they were riding in the evening. Do you think this one has enough wires going into it? Now, could you imagine a modern day rider, and I include myself in that, trying to figure this out? So you've got brake, choke, you've got a bunch of releases, and you need to coordinate all of that while you're riding. I think today we can barely function as is, right? We're getting soon ready for the AI bikes that do everything for you. But back then, you really had to have the skills as a biker, and otherwise you're in trouble. Okay, so I'm here with my always present buddy, Shahrzad, and here's the test. Now, I'm from Montreal, Canada originally, and I do speak French, but I'm gonna see how we pronounce this French bike's manufacturer. How do we say this?
I'm gonna say Magna de Bon Intro, and it's a sous marque. I don't know.
Completely wrong. You would not pass as a Frenchman. Okay, the way I think French is my third language is Magna de Bon Entretube Super Comfort 350, which is 350 cc. So this is a Peugeot from 1926, and I'm not going to ask Shahrzad how you pronounce Peugeot, but the word, it's not Puget, it's not Puget, it's Peugeot. And again, the reason why I know that is because I had a Peugeot, but I had a Peugeot bicycle, which are still very, very famous. And so this bike here, very interesting. It's got knee guards. You see that? So when you sit on this, and you can imagine back in the olden days, the amount of dust and dirt on the street. So it's pretty cool. It would protect your, fancy gentleman's pants, so you could get to the ball to see your bell and still be, looking spiffy. Here we have a bunch of military motorcycles, which are really, really interesting. And these were built for practical use. You can see they have places to put your rifle and your gun, and they're built very, very durable. We have a Russian motorcycle here, British bike. We've got a British one, which is the Norton, very, very famous brand. This one is American, and you can see it's got the gun holder, which is awesome because you want to be able to ride and shoot at the same time. This one is a British one, interesting brand, Matchless G80 Clubman, which is a brand I've never heard of. And then this thing is out of this world. Like, this thing is like from Terminator movie. So this was actually a prototype, and it was never put into production. I guess there was not enough demand for it, but it is really, really different. Okay, Shahrzad, I'm going to ask you how you pronounce the name of this bike. It's a Swiss bike, all right? So I think the right way to say it, now this is a guess, I speak French, not Swiss, but motosacoche?
Yeah, motosacoche tourisme. Motosacoche for, I don't know what 413 now, but it's sleek.
Behind me, again, one of those motorcycles that they're all so amazing, but just stands out, and to different bikers, different bikes stand out. But this one is called Gut Geist, which means good ghost. And of course, it's a BMW. This is one of the famous movie motorcycles called the Captain America. It was with Peter Fonda in the famous movie Easy Rider. It's pretty old. I think it was filmed in the 60s or 70s. And they made 50 replicas, and this is one of them. So it's not the original, but it's a replica, and it looks pretty darn amazing. This bike is called La Française Diamant, which means the French diamond, and it's a firefighting motorcycle, which I've never heard of, but it's pretty cool. It comes with a bucket of dirt, so I guess the biker rides up there. Half of the dirt probably spills out as he gets to his destination, and then he throws half a bucket of dirt on the fire, hoping to put it out. It's pretty cool, though. These three bikes are pretty famous. They're from the 1950s and 60s, and they're called the Blue Peril, the Yellow Peril, and the Scarlet Peril. What's really crazy about them is just the amount of guts that it would take for these riders to ride these things. I'm just taking a look, and I'm trying to figure out where the guy's knees would go. And they're so close to the engine. I mean, you really had to have some big machismo to ride the way these guys used to ride back in the 50s and 60s, nothing, like today. It takes a lot of guts. So this bike was actually made in France, and they used to play a sport called motoball in France, which was apparently very popular in like the 1930s. And it never made it to the US, that sport. But could you imagine getting on this thing and kicking the ball around while you're inches away from the ground and the heat and the engine? It would be pretty exciting, I think. So some guy decided to put his 13-year-old, Bobby Skirgan, I think the kid's name was, 13-year-old, on this 650cc bike and went 122 miles per hour on the Bonneville Flats. I'm trying to imagine a 13-year-old today doing that. I don't think it's possible. I don't think they could do it today. And this is Mr. Keanu Reeves' motorcycle. His company's called the Arch. And this is one of the first prototypes of their sport cruiser class that they started. I know his bikes are not cheap. I think all of them are custom. So you gotta have some dollars for these bikes, but they're beautiful bikes. So this bike is known as the Mr. Fahrenheit. It's a Moto Guzzi engine, 1000cc, and it is just chromed out. Shahrzad, could you imagine sitting there while I ride?
Ready.
I don't think our wives would allow us to take this bike out. For sure, we'd get into trouble. This amazing, elegant, sculpted bike is inspired by a photograph from the 1930s. And looking at it, I would call it something like the Swan, like the Chrome Swan. Maybe I would call it like, the elegant Chrome Sparrow. But no, they decided to call it the Killer, which doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. What's really cool about this bike, though, is that you don't see the engine. The engine is in the wheel, which is just crazy. So the engine is built into the wheel. So I'd love to see the dynamics and how the center of gravity on this works, but beautiful to look at. So these are actually motorcycle engine sculptures, and these were made by Bobby Haas, the founder of this museum. And you'll notice that they're inspired with kind of antelope, African horns. And the reason why is because he was a National Geographic photographer, an award-winning photographer. So this one is called the Triple Threat. And then it's got 3 horns, obviously. And this one here is called Greater Kudu Horns. Absolutely beautiful on a Harley Davidson motorcycle engine. And then this one here is called a Double Cross. And again, it's just a work of art. The details on the horns, with the intricate, following the real horns, they have the rings and all that. Absolutely stunning. So, Shahrzad, what was your takeaway? What's your favorite bike? If you had to convince your wife that your life depends on it, you got to pay for it today and you got to buy it, which one was your favorite?
My favorite at this Haas Museum, it's got to be the Arch, co-founded by Keanu Reeves, in that super cruiser style. That's my choice, the Arch motorcycles.
Okay, that's a good choice. Okay, that's a good choice. I would have thought you would have went for the bobbers, because I know you like the bobbers. My favorite, there's so many good ones. I really like the chrome ones, but I'm a sports guy. I probably would steal one of the sports bikes. Maybe the Tron bike, or maybe the aluminum, the Killer, like we saw. All right, if you get a chance to come and visit the Haas Moto Museum in Dallas, definitely worth it. It's not just for motorcycle lovers. It's really anybody that loves, that appreciates art, because really every bike over here is a piece of art. maybe not the motorcycle, the firefighting motorcycle from France with its little bucket. I just can't get over that. It's a tiny little bucket. I can't get over that. But anyways, thank you for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed your time. Please like, share, and subscribe so that I can make a lot more videos, and that really helps with the algorithm. Thank you. Khudafiz from me, and Khudafiz from my buddy, Shahrzad.